About 2 years now, after I just moved back to my elementary school, like that I went to elementary at for my for the second half of my sophomore semester. I'm stupid. I was just fresh out of a breakup, at home, upset, and I had known of Bryson from my aunts and from a few features. Most notably, "Love Is Dro" by Jack Harlow also has Static Major on that. I love Bryson Tiller's feature on here, but I never went out of my way to listen to a solo song. I mean, I knew parts of some, like "Overtime" or "Don't." I knew a little bit of "Don't" at the time, but those songs are probably his two biggest songs, so obviously I knew him. "Sorry Not Sorry," I'd heard some of that. And then I decide, you know what? I'm going to try and listen to one of his albums. I know a lot of people talk really good about Trap Soul, and there's obviously pretty good reasons as to why. As soon as I hear the lyrics and I hear the production and I hear the transition from intro to "Let 'Em Know," I'm hooked. I'm in this album. I'm already supplanted. I've already shoved my head in it like an ostrich into the ground. Like, this was my album all of a sudden. I fall in love. I listened to the whole album. There's no skips. You got open interlude. You have exchange. You have overtime. It's amazing. "Sorry Not Sorry." Fantastic songs. Trap Soul that day automatically became one of my top 10 albums of all time. And you can kind of already know this by me because it was already in my top 10 albums, for one. And two, I have a little series, I guess you could call it, where I take like a bunch of my favorite R&B album, or why Wizard is a classic. I have, the first one I did was why Trap Soul is a classic album. And it is. In my opinion, it really is. It was a perfect blend of that trap music and soul music. I mean, it's literally in the name, and that's what Bryson Tiller, that was his bag for a little bit, because that was kind of his sound. That was kind of who he really was. And the album kind of made me feel two different ways, right? "Let 'Em Know" kind of makes you feel like that guy. Makes you feel like that dude. Like, it's her mistake for leaving you. You know what I'm saying? It's her mistake. And I love that version of Bryson. I really do. Because it's kind of what I needed at that time. I needed to feel like it was her fault and not mine. But also, on the other side of Bryson, you have the lover boy side, I guess is what I'm going to call it. And you have that, "I wish you'd come back" side, I really do. I see where I've messed up. I really miss you. I'm thinking about you a lot. I miss you, I love that too. "Let 'Em Know" interlude on the deluxe. Holy crap. Perfect song. I listen to that almost every day. One of my favorite songs of all time. I think I'm doing a top 10 of just my songs in general. "Let 'Em Know," or not "Let 'Em Know." "Just Another Interlude" is gonna be on there. I might have said "Let 'Em Know" interlude a minute ago. I meant "Just Another Interlude." Fantastic, fantastic song. Fantastic album. Beautiful mix of trap and soul, R&B. To be fair, Bryson has never necessarily been too unique from other rappers that do that, because that's not a new thing. It wasn't a new thing in 2015 when this album dropped either. It was just kind of a new taste. I mean, Drake has dabbled in this type of sound before. He does it all the time. Party Next Door, Chris Brown. They kind of dabble in this type of sound. That's kind of like the pockets that they're in. However, Bryson kind of approaches it with a new flavor, you know what I mean? With a new sense of style and swag that I think works really well for him in this whole album. Now, to be fair, unlike DC the Don, who I've done a video for this before, I've kind of been following 90% of his career. Bryson Tiller, I haven't really been doing that. So, it must be in people's attention. I might miss details. However, I was ready to get straight into Anniversary, which was the next album he had released. Now, I'm obviously listening to Trap Soul at this point almost every day. I love this album, and it's setting my expectations high. Because if I'm listening to this and I think it's some fantastic music, his next album has to be fantastic too. Excuse me. But then I think about it and I'm like, wait a second, why, like, this guy was huge, 2015, 2016. I know he hasn't really been dropping music, but that kind of makes me wonder, why is he not as popular? You know what I mean? So I feel like something had to have happened with that, and I kind of just, I notice it, and then I kind of start to kind of, not cautious myself, but almost be like, I don't know, I tried to lower my expectations slightly. I failed, however, and that's where we get to Anniversary. Obviously, very original of Bryson to use a very similar picture and then just flip the aspect ratio or whatever it's called. Anyway, not a really great cover, but neither of them are anyway. That has nothing to do with how I liked it. I do like Anniversary. I do. I know a lot of people don't. However, it has a little soft spot. I do enjoy the album. That isn't the problem. And I was honestly disappointed by it. I feel like it could have been so much better, and it bothered me it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. A Bryson Tiller and Drake song should have been way better than what it was, in my opinion. Maybe a lot more people really like that song. Again, I'm not back in 2016. No one really talks about Bryson Tiller as much as they probably did back then. So I'm not really... it'd be kind of harder for me to tell if people are liking something, because I'm not actively looking to see if people like it. But I personally think the song could have been about 5 times better. I mean, Bryson Tiller and Drake, that has potential to be an insane collaboration right there. Both of them at the time were experts at making this type of music. That could have been something special. But it just felt more generic. It just felt like he wasn't in that same... He didn't have the same, motivations for making the album almost. It didn't feel like he felt it as much. Like Trap Soul, I feel like you can feel his emotions and you can really feel how exactly he was feeling during the times that are similar to these moments that have happened to him in person. And you don't really feel that anymore. It kind of just feels like he just came up with it. He's not saying it like he means it, I guess you could say. And that was kind of my problem with all of Anniversary. There are a few good ones on there, like Next to You, and what's the other one called? There's one more that I actually really liked, but I'm kind of blanking on the name of it as of right now. But it was also a pretty good song. Now, to be fair, because of this kind of disappointment, I kind of just stuck to listening to Trap Soul for a while. But then I started to get excited every time I seen his name. Every single time I seen Bryson Tiller was going to be featured on a song, I was like, oh my god, that can actually be pretty good. I know one song that comes to note that I remember I seen he was featured on was that on one of Trippie Redd's newest tapes, and I ended up really liking that song. Not really liking it because Trippie kind of ruined it, but Bryson had a good part on it. On that Never Lose Me remix, I liked him on that. I really like Outside. I actually love Outside. And another project that he does have that I have noticeably not talked about yet, it's this Christmas album called A Different Christmas. I mean, it's kind of just an album, definitely not my type of music. I'm not going to go out of my way to listen to it. However, me seeing that this was his last release, I was actually very curious why exactly there wasn't as many songs from Bryson Tiller, because pretty popular dude. I mean, I would want to know why he took a break, why there's a noticeable length between his release dates. I would love to see that. And then I figured out. But before I actually say why, I should tell y'all my opinion of him currently. He's my top 10 rappers. He's in my top 10. At the time of me, after listening to the Christmas album, Trap Soul is honestly good enough, and I love it so much. And I loved him and on his features, and I loved Outside a lot. He's in my top 10. I love his music. I think it's amazing. It's almost like he was making it for me. Alright? And then I kind of started to like him more as a person more whenever I figured out why he was taking that hiatus from music. It was to spend more quality time with his family and just to pursue other ventures. You can't hate on that, man. You really can't. Especially his 10-year-old daughter, which I didn't know he had at the time of that Christmas album. So she's probably 13, 14, 15 now, maybe. When exactly was that? I think she's 13 now. But fantastic. You can't hate on a man wanting to just appreciate his family more. And yeah, that might mean taking a break from music. However, he probably had pretty good wealth, probably was pretty safe without dropping no music for a little bit. But then, he previews a snippet. I notice he previews this snippet right here, Whatever She Wants. I like it, alright? It's kind of not my favorite Bryson Tiller song, but I do enjoy the song. I'm pretty sure he dropped it on SoundCloud before it was out everywhere. Not by much longer, but he also had some other songs on SoundCloud. I think he even dropped, it was collectively called Slum Tiller Volume 2. But those were all pretty good songs too. I liked them a lot, but they weren't fantastic to me. And then I start kind of thinking, Bryson ain't washed. There's no way. But I love Bryson enough, up until this point, to where I'm willing to kind of let this one slide, I didn't think it was amazing. For a while that I've been waiting on new Bryson Tiller music, that one kind of wasn't my favorite. However, that was okay. I wasn't completely sold on it, but that was okay because that's where the next song came in. Calypso is where I was sold on the idea of this next album being amazing. It was so good. Fantastic hook, fantastic verses, fantastic story, amazing song. It's a top 5 Bryson Tiller song. If you go watch that video of my top 5 Bryson Tiller songs, Calypso was on there. I'm pretty sure it's number 5. Actually, it might be number 4. I think it's number 5, though. And I start seeing, his album trailer. He starts talking more about it. You're starting to see more promotion for that album. And I'm getting excited, man. More Bryson Tiller music, bro. How could you not be excited? It felt like 2015. Actually, I don't really know because I wasn't big on music in 2015. But it felt good for me because even though I was late to the Bryson Tiller train, that's very admitted. I admit that. I was very late, only discovering him a couple years ago. It was nice knowing that this artist that I love, that I've been listening to every single day for about a year and a half now, is getting a new album. He's in my top 10 rappers. He's pushing top 5 almost. This has to be good. It has to be. Alright? And that's when it came. Bryson Tiller, by Bryson Tiller. By the way, this cover, I don't really mess with the cover like that. I feel like the new person that I am today, I feel like I can't necessarily appreciate this new album as much as I could have. However, I still love it. This album is still great, but I'm still always gonna know him for Trap Soul. And this album didn't change that. Now, don't get me wrong. This album is great. You have Persuasion, you have Chow, you have Undertow, F for You, fantastic songs. There are some really good songs on this project, y'all. Some very good songs on this project. Like I said earlier, Calypso's a top 5 Bryson Tiller song. And that's fan-freaking-tastic song, man. But it kind of brings me back to Trap Soul. It all comes back to Trap Soul. Bryson Tiller will never be able to make an album better than Trap Soul. He just won't. And that is not saying he's washed. That's not saying he's bad. That is not a testament to him. It's a testament to Trap Soul. That is just how good it is in my book. That is how much I love that album. That is how important it is to me. That's the feeling it gives me. Like I said earlier, the feeling that it almost feels like he's talking to me directly. You know what I mean? And that is something that just can't be replicated. However, also, not even to do with Bryson Tiller or do with him making albums, I'm a different person than when Trap Soul was released. Not was released, when I heard it. I'm a different person. When I listened to Trap Soul, I wasn't in a happy relationship. I was just getting out of one, and that's where Bryson Tiller, that's his niche. That's where you go to him. That's his vibe. That's his perfect setting. He will always, if I ever break up with anyone ever again, which I don't plan on it, Bryson Tiller will be the first rapper I listen to. That is just a testament to how good of an artist he is and how good Trap Soul is especially. Anniversary is kind of just an alright Bryson Tiller album. Bryson Tiller, the album, is much better. It's his second best project, but it's still, even though I love it and even though it's great, it's nowhere near as good as Trap Soul. And that's just how Bryson Tiller, he's going to probably kind of have to deal with that. And I honestly think he knows it himself. Because of, me personally, I'm not the same person. I can't even listen to certain songs anymore because, just open interlude, right? That's back when I was wanting you back. Now, I have this beautiful love of my life right here. I'm not wanting anyone back. I can still love the song and I appreciate the song more than anything. But when I listen to it now, it almost brings back memories of what the mindset was back then, and it almost makes me change it because I don't relate to it as much anymore. Used to. More so now, I bump the song because, I really like the song. But I find Bryson Tiller to be great. Trap Soul is legendary to me, but I feel like his music has never really changed. He kind of just needs to keep in this niche because it's his best, honestly. You can kind of tell he's always had this same shooting for the same thing, kind of. The same goal, the same end of the race, you know what I mean? However, that's not a bad thing. Obviously, it's not a bad thing. And Bryson Tiller, his newest album, was definitely kind of the most amount of shakeup and the most amount of real change that he's had in the way his music sounds. And I greatly appreciate that, and I think he manages to do it pretty well. I wish it would have sold more first week. It only sold about 40-something thousand. I know that really has nothing to do with how good an album is, but, for an artist that I like, I want him to be successful, and that might not necessarily be the most successful one considering to him. I think it sounds pretty good to me, especially since his release was, being shrouded by Kendrick Lamar, Future, Drake, and J. Cole beef all happening. J. Cole's surprise drop might delete later on the same day as Bryson Tiller. That took a lot of traction away from him. All that good stuff. Because he even had a trailer and all that for his album. He actually had a legitimate rollout for it. And J. Cole just surprise dropped some and outsold him, which, I kind of expected that. I didn't think he was going to go number one or nothing like that. But it would have been nice, I love seeing my favorite rappers go number one on Billboard. It's just nice to see. But anyway, I don't really know where Bryson goes from here. I don't know if he's going to keep making albums. I don't know if he's going to keep making music. He hasn't dropped a single since then. He has been featured on a few songs. He's been featured on one with Jeremiah that I'm pretty sure also had T-Pain on it. Was that the other one? He was just recently featured on that new Big Sean album on one of my favorite songs off of it. Kodak Black's also on it. He is popping up more often. He's on more songs than he used to be. He's on another one, I feel like, where I feel like I've seen his face or heard his voice, Something I love about Bryson, I love when he does that staticky sound effect to his voice. Sounds fantastic, Lovely. I love that sound. He doesn't sound generic. I hear a lot of people say that Bryson Tiller sounds like a generic, version of Party Next Door. Drake had a baby. I don't really see that. I've never really seen that. I've always just looked at him as kind of the best versions of both of those rappers when they're doing this kind of sound. I like Bryson Tiller more than I like Party Next Door. I like Bryson Tiller when he's making this type of music versus when Drake's making this type of music, honestly. The only real competition he has is Chris Brown, and even then I think Bryson Tiller does things better than Chris Brown does. Singing, maybe not necessarily, but rapping and just his ability, his song enjoyment, yeah, low-key, I'm giving it to Bryson. Bryson is a good rapper and a good singer. He raps more on that Big Sean feature, and it actually sounds really good. This all goes back to, I love Bryson Tiller. And I really hope his career keeps going. I hope he keeps continuously dropping albums. I do think that this album would have been a pretty good note to leave it on. But come on, shoot for the stars one more time. Try and make you another Trap Soul. For me. Come on, for all the boys, for all the guys, boys, men that have got them hearts broke. Listen to Bryson Tiller. Women, too, man. I know women love Bryson Tiller. My aunts love Bryson Tiller. I know women love Bryson Tiller, bro. Come on now. I love him too. I don't blame y'all. I love him too. But yeah, Bryson Tiller is in my top 10 rappers. He's a fantastic artist. Trap Soul is a legendary classic. Anniversary was kind of disappointing, but he's brought it back on that Bryson Tiller mixtape. Let's see where Bryson Tiller goes next and see his next step. As you probably already know, if you look in the description, you'll see all sorts of social media links. If you want to show more support, you can subscribe, like. You can go listen to my album on any streaming service. Links in the description. You can join the Patreon. You can buy merch, whatever you want to do, and go follow me on social media. I appreciate any form of, I almost said promotion, but any form of support from you guys. Absolutely perfect, and I love it. Hope you guys are having a good day.